I rise today to oppose House Bill 5294. I do think a lot of good work did happen in the committee. I want to thank the chairman and the members of the committee for their work in this budget. I think a lot of good work did happen, but what we have not done is caught up to the inequities that were created 6 years ago. When many of you who are in your final term were here, you created a budget and a taxing framework that disinvested in communities, disinvested in higher education, and disinvested in people. My hope is after you did that 6 years ago, that at least in your sixth budget, that you would come back here and fix those inequities. Today, earlier on during the budget process, we had the opportunity to realize that we're actually in a deficit. The second time in 3 years where we find ourselves in a deficit based on a taxing system that you created in 2011. This is going to be the first year that actually business tax credits are going to eat up all the business tax that was collected. That is creating a huge problem in our budget. It is a long-term problem in our budget. And at some point, we have to fix that. So what are we doing? One of the things that we have an obligation towards is revenue sharing. There's a statutory and a constitutional component to that. Unfortunately, for the last 6 years, we have underfunded the statutory amount by $3.2 billion. This year, it's a little bit over $500 million. So what have we done? We have balanced the budget today on the backs of local communities, on your townships, on your cities, and on your counties. My colleague from Ann Arbor mentioned to you that we are leaving federal dollars on the table for the second year in a row. Last year, we offered amendments to you to fund the Heat and Eat program. For just $3 million, we can actually pull down $140 million in federal resources. Now, for the second year, we're leaving $140 million. So we're leaving $250 million out on the table. Now, I'm hopeful that with the chair of the DHHS budget and the chair of appropriations who have fought for this, that we can continue to fight with our Senate colleagues, because it's my belief that they're the ones who stopped us from actually having that in the budget. But in good conscience, I can support a budget where we could actually bring in $140 million more for the most neediest of our people. And so if we can fix this in a supplemental, I'm looking forward to that opportunity. But today, we could have had that in that budget. We could have found a way to work with one another to just get $3 million out of a $54 billion budget so we could pull down federal dollars and resources. We also leave $13 million for the child care development grants of federal money on the table that we could have pulled down. And then lastly, the thing that upsets me the most is I thought we had an opportunity in this budget to stop failed experiments. We've done that in the past. You might remember the governor had an EVIP program for revenue sharing. We got rid of that. We got rid of the K through 12 funding issues that he had put together. We got rid of a number of things that he did back in 2011. But what you didn't do is stop the privatization in two areas. We offered you up budget amendments to eliminate the privatization in the prisons as well as the privatizations in our veterans' homes. State workers would provide a better and more safe environment in both of those areas. We know that. We know the privatization has failed, and you had the opportunity in this budget to fix those items. And unfortunately, you allowed your political opportunity to privatize to overcome the needs that we're hearing from our veterans in that veterans home, that we're hearing from the correction officers who are saying that this privatized contract is creating an unsafe environment for them in the prisons. We had an opportunity to fix all of that. So today, even though there's a lot of good things in this budget, a lot of good things that we've worked with the majority with, I cannot support a budget that leaves over $150 million of federal money in Washington, D.C., money that we pay out in our taxes that should be back here in Michigan, and that we won't take on the tough issue of taking those employees and those private contracts and bringing them back to state employees. So my hope is that we will have an opportunity to deal with some of these through a supplemental process. But today, you cannot have my vote because, unfortunately, these are too big of issues for us not to have solved within this budget process. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.